Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the DLF Trade Show, where we, and by we, I mean Russ Fisher at Dynasty Outhouse. I mean Addison Hayes at AmazeHayes _ the senior contributor to DLF DynastyLeagueFootball.com. No, not letting it die. Stop shaking your head. Just accept it. People are allowed to say nice things about you. It's okay. You can let it in. Let it in.
I let it in and then swiftly reject it.
But we are going to talk about some wide receivers that were suggested to us from Twitter. So from you. So thank you for the suggestions. We are going to start with Chris Godwin, where we have the two recent news updates. That's a word. From Chris Godwin. First of all, news is coming out that he might be ready for the start of the season. Now, what ready means, we don't really know.
On the field.
But how good is his physical situation? How trusting is he going to be on that knee? Will he be able to cut, or is he going to be one of those dudes that gives himself a hammy injury because he's, compensating way too hard on the other leg? And also, which I can't imagine will actually affect Chris Godwin or Mike Evans in any way, shape, or form, but it's just awesome to say Julio Jones is on a team now, and it's the Buccaneers, because why settle if you're the Buccaneers? Go sign Julio Jones. So let's get into, a 16-team trade. That's interesting. The first trade we have, 16-team, 1 quarterback. Alvin Kamara and Chris Godwin for Javonte Williams. Okay, this is cool. Kamara comes in at 509.5, Chris Godwin 454, Javonte Williams at 859.7. Oh, sorry, the other side total is 963.5. So 963.5 to 859.7. This fits our overpay for the better asset rule. Mm-hmm. But what do you think about Kamara and Godwin for Javonte?
I like it. I mean, this is perfect, trade down running back to another running back who could be just as productive, if not more productive this year, and gain a pretty significant asset piece on top of that, right? I mean, I understand the whole, Javonte Williams is 22 years old. He's going to be fantastic, and you want to have that on your team. And then Kamara, 27, turning 28. Chris Godwin starting to enter what should be the prime of his wide receiver career, but is also the ages at which we start not to like wide receivers in Dynasty.
He has one season of still being valued. And once he passed his 27-year-old season, he's dead.
It's dead. Yeah, it's over. So the age argument kind of comes into play, I think, here a little bit. But at the end of the day, like I said, I think for 2022 and possibly 2023, Kamara is going to match or even outproduce Javonte Williams. So you're getting that from a production standpoint. And then you're getting Chris Godwin, who, when healthy, I feel pretty confident in saying that he is a wide receiver 1 without Tom Brady. Probably still a solid wide receiver. I'd say he's DJ Moore without Tom Brady, right? Which is, I think, a solid mid wide receiver 2. Because I feel like you still have flexibility with trading Kamara if you're not a contender, or trading Chris Godwin. I just think there's more value on that side, as we see from the trade analyzer, that you can just kind of do more things with, or maintain them both and reap all the production and the points.
I agree in principle in everything you just said. The only thing that worries me with these specific players is you could be without both of them for 6 weeks.
I mean, we just said that Godwin's going to be on the field.
I'm not letting myself believe that until we get a lot closer. Okay. Just putting it out there.
Drew Davenport is a lawyer, and he runs through and talks about cases and gives his advice on what he thinks is going to happen from a legal standpoint for suspensions. And he doesn't think Kamara is going to get hit with a suspension at all this year, and that's going to be pushed to 2023. So there's that. And also, I don't think that even if Kamara were to be suspended, I don't think it's any more than a month. It might be 4 games he appeals, it goes down to 2 kind of thing.
If we knew that right now, I would not ding Kamara at all for that at that point. But right now, those 2 specific players in this specific deal worry me a little bit, though. Again, I'm with you. Downgrade from Javonte. I am all about it. But I can tell you, if I did this trade and I got Kamara and Godwin, I would probably be so happy looking at my roster. I would love what this did to it.
Yeah.
Especially in a 16-team league.
Yeah, where you need that depth, or at least the
to
more
fill out your
quality
starting lineup. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to get that many good players in a 16-team league.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I am for this, and every day that gets closer to us having information, I think the Kamara and Godwin side would be more in my favor. But right now, I'm still a little worried about it. Next trade, 14-team, one quarterback. Wow, apparently Godwin's moving in these big leagues. Saquon Barkley and Chris Godwin for Breece Hall, Jahan Dotson, a 24-second and 24-third. Caution, team... Does that say Team B? Team B is giving up the highest value asset and the most pieces in the deal. Saquon Barkley coming in at 641.5. Love to see it. Chris Godwin coming in at 454 for a total of 1,095. Breece Hall, 757.4. Jahan Dotson, wow, 167.3. That's not great. 24-second and 24-third, 80 points, 29 points for a total of 1034. So much Penn State happening in this trade.
I know, I love it.
So much. I can't think of a reason this wouldn't be Saquon and Godwin. I guess if you're rebuilding, Breece and Dotson and picks are nice, but man, I want Saquon and Godwin.
Yeah, I understand, like, because I would take Breece Hall over Saquon. Would you?
I don't know. I mean, I should. That doesn't mean I would. Like, because if my team is okay, the answer is yes. Because in the situation that if my team was bad, I had Saquon, and the only thing I could pull off was someone saying, I'll give you Breece, you give me Saquon. Hell, I'll throw a third or a fourth. I'll throw one of those 24 seconds or thirds on there just to get the deal done. And then I'll be able to flip Breece Hall a lot more easily than I would Saquon, because his age opens up your percentage of managers willing to deal for a running back. So yes, technically I would. If I want points, I'm sticking with Saquon. I believe I am ready to put it to the test. I am ready to just say I have Saquon. He's going to stay healthy and he's going to score me points in this new awesome offense.
Well, I would love that.
Yes.
But I would take Breece Hall over Saquon. And then it really just comes down to how close is Dotson and a second and a third to Godwin, which I really don't think is all that close.
I don't think it is either. I think 167.3 is real low for Dotson. Like I don't see why his value would have fallen since the rookie drafts.
Oh, because people hate Jahan Dotson. That's why.
Well, yes, but like real reason, like in the real world reason, like there's no reason for it, which maybe makes Jahan Dotson a buy for me, which is super strange. But yeah, to me, like you're right. Even like in my mind, you cross off Barkley and Breece Hall, but even if you put a little extra, what would it take if you were the Breece Hall person to trade for Saquon Barkley? Would it take a 23-second on top of Barkley to make that deal? Breece,
I would do that. A first would be too much.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would do it for a second.
So Jahan Dotson, 23-second, 24-second, 24-third for Chris Godwin. I mean, that makes it better, but I still don't like it. Because like you said before, we're talking about Godwin, whose value is probably a little too low because of the injury, but also a player who has shown he's very, very good coming into the prime of his career. And Tom Brady is still there this season, and that's all that really matters, because the second he is on the field and the football is snapped, Godwin's value will go up. Mm-hmm. So I am absolutely fine, even if I'm rebuilding, holding on at that price. Well, this made up hypothetical price of Dotson, 23, 24 seconds, and a 24-third. So again, super easily the Saquon side for me. Next player we have, we talked about Rashod Bateman like recently. Apparently that was March. March is not recently, but we're going to talk about him now. In a 10-team, one quarterback league, Rashod Bateman and Antonio Gibson for Michael Pittman and Evan Engram. Bateman comes in at 418.1. Antonio Gibson still holding on at 377.9 for a total of 796. The other side, Michael Pittman, 483.6. Evan Engram, 17.4, a total of 501. This is heavily lopsided. But I guess this shows if you have Michael Pittman and you kind of don't, if you're not that guy,
Yeah,
go
the
trade him.
value that he possesses.
Yeah, because this is 295 points. I mean, that is not far. I mean, that's not far off from a first, a random first. And this is one QB. But I mean, the point values always stay the same for picks in the analyzer. Argument for a different time. But like that's really, really off. In which case, yes, because the thing is, I don't think Bateman is undervalued here. I think this is actually Bateman being valued pretty correctly. I don't put Gibson that high anymore. Like, I think for me, the ceiling of Gibson is just gone now. Like, it's so much lower than we ever wanted it to be or hoped it would be. So maybe 377 is also a little too high, which again would put this a little closer together. But I mean, I have to take the Bateman Gibson side in this, regardless of how I feel about Pittman, because the value is just so different.
Yeah, I'm also taking the Bateman Gibson side here, but I like the direction that they're trying to go here. The biggest problem is Evan Ingram. Like, if Evan Ingram was anything better, like he could be a different tight end, like a Pat Freiermuth or a Dalton Schultz.
That would definitely,
like
that would.
It could even be Albert O, and that would bring the value up so much more to where I would probably go on that side because, and I feel like I'm not even really a Michael Pittman guy, but apparently this is just showing how I've kind of fallen off of Rashod Bateman over the last few weeks, maybe, to where I don't really view him as a player that I think we can trust. Because even though he is going to be the wide receiver one for the Ravens, that hasn't really been a position that we want for fantasy football. And the Ravens are showing that with Dobbins and Gus Edwards coming back from injury and them trading away Hollywood Brown, they don't want to be the pass heavy team that they were last year. They want to return to being that run heavy team that they were in 2019 and 2020, where Lamar was only throwing the ball 400 times. So even if Bateman sees a 25% target share, which is like an elite NFL number, on like 450 attempts, that's only like 110, 120 targets, which is not enough to really sustain a top 20 wide receiver. And then JJ Zacharyson posted that tweet where since 2011, the Ravens have only had, I think it was 2 top 24 seasons in points per game and 0 wide receiver one. Like they were so far and away the worst team for fantasy production from the wide receiver position that it's like it's painful.
I'm trying to remember.
That was back with Joe Flacco. That was like more years of Joe.
I'm trying to. It's probably like Derek Mason or Anquan Bolden, right?
I think it was a Derek Mason season, or maybe that one like Steve Smith year.
Yeah, I mean Bolden would have been top 24, I think, because he did really well there.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna.
That also shows that even for as good as we remember Hollywood, I don't want to say as good as we remember, but like with Hollywood being Hollywood, it still hasn't really been good enough on a points per game basis for fantasy football. And if Bateman is Hollywood,
this hand's the brakes. This hand is your foot.
It's just
pump them, pump the brakes on this Hollywood hate. Let's not forget Tyler Huntley.
I'm all right with it. Listen, I love me some Hollywood now in Arizona. I didn't love it so much in Baltimore. And I think we are over exaggerating how good of a role the wide receiver one position is in Baltimore for Bateman. Like, I think Pittman could turn into Keenan Allen. Like, if he gets that target share, he is a Keenan Allen kind of player and producer. Whereas Bateman, yeah. Whereas pump the brakes. Whereas Bateman, I just don't see it, Like something drastically has to happen within the Ravens organization, like offensively and schematically, that would make Rashod Bateman better than a wide receiver 3 in fantasy. But we're valuing him as a 2.
I really hope they don't revert all the way back to 2 years ago.
Like, they might.
Happy medium, please, Baltimore. Happy medium. All right, next trade. 12-team Superflex. Disrespectful. Rashod Bateman and Jared Goff. Yes, but he's still a starting quarterback for Brandon Cooks, Davis Mills, Alan Lazard. Rashod Bateman coming in at 249.4. Jared Goff, 134.1. Total of 383.5. Team B is Brandon Cooks, 125.4. Davis Mills, 97.6. And Alan Lazard, 36.9 for a total of Rashod Bateman. 259.8. Like, this is free Jared Goff.
According to the analyzer, but is Alan Lazard really worth 36?
Yes.
No, he's not. He's worth more than that.
To who?
You might, to a lot of people out there. I mean, look at here's the problem. I figured out what the problem is. His ADP is 138 in Superflex, but his rank is 200. So you bring that rank back up. I think that basically neutralizes the difference here.
Double his value, and it still ain't gonna do anything.
I was pretty hard pressed to take the Davis Mills side on this. I'll be honest.
This is okay.
Would you rather have Mills or Jared Goff?
Same thing. I mean, probably Mills because there's a chance he keeps going there, but Goff is going to start somewhere. But like for this season alone, I think I probably take Goff. That offense has the ability to be good if they click. And really, you're treating both Goff and Mills as this year assets.
Sure. And then you'd rather have Bateman than Cooks.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I mean, the reason why I was kind of hard pressed to take was I feel like I might take Davis Mills over Jared Goff. Like there's an unknownness to Davis Mills that tells me his ceiling could be higher.
Ceiling, maybe. I don't know. Longevity,
maybe
definitely a possibility.
Yeah, like I think Jared Goff could get like Jimmy G'd into being like and kind of nothing over the next couple of years, whereas Davis Mills could be
Jared Goff in the past 2 years.
Could be, yeah, or maybe he's like
he plays well enough.
Maybe he's like Tony Romo. I don't know, where he just kind of
weird comp.
Well, I was trying to think of a guy that like didn't have the draft capital really or the expectations, and then just kind of was like, I didn't want to say he was Dak Prescott. He was the first name that came to mind, but then Tony Romo kind of came to mind after that.
I mean, he's no Tom Brady, right? Low draft capital.
Yeah. But then this year only, Cooks or Bateman? This year only.
I wouldn't be surprised if they scored the exact same points.
It's Cooks to me.
But also, again, talking a 22-year-old versus a 28-year-old. The 28-year-old who, after his second season in the league, never had dynasty value again because people were silly. And no matter how many times he put up 1,000-yard seasons on a new team, lost faith every time he got moved to a new team. For some reason, people just did not want to pay Brandon Cooks. And I don't get why. All he ever did was win, 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 no matter what.
He had money on his mind, but none of the teams did.
No.
Yeah, I got you.
So,
but that's what I'm saying. That's why I was kind of hard pressed to take the Davis Mills side, because I was like, the unknown factor that Davis Mills could be better than Jared Goff long term, and then you're getting the immediate production of Brandon Cooks over Bateman, because I think Cooks is going to outscore Bateman for the next year or two. And then for an additional little fun factor, you get the Mills Cooks stack, and whatever Alan Lazard is on top of that. That if he turns out to be a wide receiver 3 in fantasy because he's the wide receiver 1A to Aaron Rodgers for a year, Watkins is already hurt.
He's fine. He's a vet. He's resting.
Right. He's been resting his entire career.
For this moment, until he got Aaron Rodgers, that's what he was waiting for.
Exactly. He didn't want it with Patrick Mahomes. He didn't want it with Lamar Jackson.
Nope.
He was waiting for Aaron Rodgers.
Yep, that was it. Just give me that.
Yeah. So you can see that's all I wanted to say. That's why I was kind of leaning towards that side.
I get it. You're just wrong.
Okay.
This next player was spiked because of Twitter, not asked by Twitter, but we finally got a video of Michael Thomas running around, catching a ball, and tiptoeing on the sidelines. So it's for real. He's at least able, looks like, to play. Whether he does or not, who he plays for or not, But that doesn't really matter in the minds of Dynasty players, especially in, well, I mean, we're almost in August, so real world is going to start kicking in pretty soon. But right now, Michael Thomas can be Michael Thomas. And the fact that he, in a 12-team Superflex league, is coming in at 145 points, like that sets off the spidey senses, bringing back Spider-Man. And like, so you can go and send a second and a third and go end up with Michael Thomas. Of course, he's 29 and all of that junk, but if he's
I was gonna say,
like
or
Michael Thomas, who cares?
trade Michael Thomas for a second and a third.
But let's look at these trades and see how everyone feels about it. The first one, 12-team Superflex, Michael Thomas, a 23 second, and someone named Jerome Ford for Josh Jacobs and Ramondre Stevenson. Yeah, I disrespected him like that.
Did you really just say that?
I halfway through saying his name out loud, I remembered his name, and I felt really bad about it after that. So I'm sorry, Jerome Ford. I know you watch. I'm very sorry. So Michael Thomas, 145.4. The 23 second, 134.3. Jerome, well, he's already mad at me. Am I going to say he's worth 0? I mean, come on. What are you setting me up for, DLF? For a total of 279.7, because yes, he's worth 0. Josh Jacobs, 196.5. Wow, that's low. And Ramondre Stevenson, who's running with the ones today, apparently. So get ready for that boost at 68.1 for a total of 264.6. So this is insanely even. Like, this is, to me, I think I take the Josh Jacobs and Ramondre Stevenson side, though I think in like 2 months, the 23 second could easily be the most valuable piece on this team. Like, weird things would have to happen in Las Vegas to Josh Jacobs for him to drop, but I'm not, with the new coaching staff, with them drafting a running back and all of these things put together, I think the possibility is out there, though I think dude's still only 24 and is talented enough to be a workhorse back, even though he's never been used that way, really. But yeah, right now, I think I take Jacobs and Stevenson because for the next few weeks, I don't think Josh Jacobs' value changes at all. And we get a couple of days in a row of Stevenson running with the ones instead of Damian Harris. Maybe his value goes up a bit. Maybe you get what looks like a late second for him, and that's a win. Or worst case scenario, you have a very strong running back, a guy who's finished as running back 1 for the past 2-3 years. And Stevenson, who is probably a flex play on his own, no less if Damian Harris gets hurt again.
Right. Yeah,
like, I'm also on that side, but like I get the other side. And honestly, the other side is just getting that 23 second and crossing of fingers that Michael Thomas can go up in value.
Which I don't think. Do you think that happens?
If he scores points, like he's not gonna be worth a first unless he walks in to that like 27% target share he used to have and does what he used to do. I mean, he'll never be like top 5 wide receiver value ever again, just based on the fact that he's 29 and hasn't played in 6 years. But I don't see why he can't push himself up to being worth 2 seconds in a couple of games.
Yeah, to where he's like Brandon Cooks. Yeah,
a person where he's probably worth the first, but no one will ever pay it.
Right. So, I mean, I definitely do think that there is a world where he is worth more than Josh Jacobs and Ramondre Stevenson together. Maybe because he starts producing, and then Jacobs and Stevenson aren't really anything. You know, like I am kind of scared of Josh Jacobs, and I was actually just trying to look up to see what's going on with Kenyon Drake because I know he's starting on the PUP list. But it was a broken ankle like a really, really bad broken ankle.
Yeah.
At the end of last year. But I was trying to see because him coming back and then they drafted Zamir White. Like, I think that there could be a situation where Josh Jacobs just kind of has the same workload that he did last year.
Yeah.
Which might be surprising to some people, but that would make him valuable, at least from a production standpoint. And then,
exactly, like
we said, Ramondre Stevenson has the potential to be a flex play even with Damian Harris, let alone if Damian Harris were to get injured or if Stevenson actually is the RB1 this year, like he is running with the ones now, apparently.
One day report, let's boost it.
I know, right? Overall, I just think that this whole trade is just kind of weird. I don't know if I like anything that's kind of going on.
Yeah, right. So, which unfortunately makes you just lean towards that one safe piece of the 23-second. But I think I'm still siding with Jacobs and Stevenson.
Yeah. Michael
Though
Thomas is going to be he's going to be a good litmus test for Calvin Ridley, I think.
Well, I 1000%, I can't remember the context where I brought it up or how I brought it up, but I was talking about Ridley's value somewhere, and I said, if you're excited about Michael Thomas coming back, then you have no reason to not be even more excited about Calvin Ridley coming back, because Calvin Ridley is not injured.
Right. Not injured, showed the same level of production, and is going to be, I think Ridley's going to be 28 when he'll come back next year.
A year younger. Yeah, that's
right. But about the same age. So this overall kind of it's the same situation, just not from an injury. So yeah, I guess we'll have to see what happens with Thomas's value if he can actually start producing, and that could kind of give us some insight into Ridley.
Man, I might need to go trade for even more Calvin Ridley before Thomas plays, now that we're saying that out loud. Next trade, 12-team, 1 quarterback. Michael Thomas and the 305. Wow, teams still haven't done their rookie drafts, for Christian Kirk and the 210. Michael Thomas, 154.3. The 305, 48.2. Total of 202.5. Christian Kirk, 142.7 from the 210, 87.4. Total of 230.1. I don't know. Like, I guess give me the 4-year younger wide receiver in the earlier pick. I mean, and Christian Kirk, honestly, again, he'll never be worth a first, regardless. Like, unless he magically becomes a fantasy wide receiver 1 for a chunk of the season, Christian Kirk is not going to be worth a first. But I think he could be. If he becomes Trevor Lawrence's guy, that's super valuable, assuming last year was not real Trevor Lawrence, which I, again, fully willing to just wipe last season off the face of the earth for the entire Jags team.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't like, if I was in this league where this trade went down, I'd just be like, all right, delete. I mean, that's like, what else do you do with that? Like, there's the whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. It was hard to find Michael Thomas trades that were like, I felt were good enough to kind of talk about, because he is in this really weird value nebula to where he's not worth a whole lot. So when you're making a trade to acquire him, you don't really know what you're sending, because you don't really know what the other player, how the other manager values Michael Thomas. So you try to work things out, and then you end up trading Christian Kirk or Josh Jacobs, and it's just really weird players that are kind of up in the air value wise. But I agree with you. I'm gonna take Christian Kirk in the 210. I'll just take the higher draft pick, and I will take the guy who, like you said, is 4 years younger. And I think I don't want to say his upside is higher than Michael Thomas, but I think that if he hits, like you said, is Trevor Lawrence's go-to guy, I think that could be a boost of confidence that raises his value back into being, a top 25 wide receiver.
Yeah. Okay, we are now. This is gonna Russ's inbox. This was an ordeal. Trade Addicts League, 12-team, Superflex, PPR, 1.75 tight end premium, and this was TA1, so no return yardage. Here was the trade. Everyone watching this might need a pen and paper for this one. Chris Godwin, Tom Brady, Allen Robinson, Melvin Gordon, and Marcus Mariota for what is projected to be an early 23 first, 24 second, David Bell, Alec Pierce, and a 24 third. Chris Godwin, 339.9, Tom Brady, 211.4, Allen Robinson, 148.9, Melvin Gordon, 48, Marcus Mariota, 47.3, a total of 795.5. The other side, a 23 first coming in at 384.2, 24 second, 80. David Bell, 38.1, disrespectful. Alec Pierce, 29.7, 24 third, 29 for a total of 561.4. So pure value in analyzer, this is pretty easily the player side. But there is not yet that little option on the drop-down box where you can click early
There
for
is.
23 first.
Look at the trade below it.
You put it in. You're my man. I'm like, maybe he just posted it twice.
Nope.
Because if you change that too early, thank you for adding that. I just missed it. 795.5 to 781.3. And I know I have always been a very big proponent of don't play the guessing game. But you're allowed to make an educated guess because this team that I got the first from, it is not the team who I made this trade with. It is a different team's first. That team had the 101 last year and has not done much else to raise their team's value or to bring points onto their team. So I still feel super confident as of this moment that that's a top 3 pick. And a 2023 top 3 pick can be worth more than that entire side by the end of the season.
Gold.
And my team is bad. So, and I only wish I had my 23 first, but that's another story. But I want to break this down in the way I thought of it and let me know what you think about it because I did accept this trade. I know in the analyzer, 24 second is 80.4 and Mariota is 47.3, but I feel like you can cross them out. Mariota for a 24 second to me is fine.
Okay.
Then David Bell, Alec Pierce, and a 24 third to me is close enough to Allen Robinson and Melvin Gordon. It's a little bit more on the player side, but enough of me where I'm trying to just get old people off my team that I was willing to do it. Chris Godwin and Tom Brady for the 23 first, which in the analyzer as the random pick does look a little lopsided again to create what it was before at about 550 to 384. But again, if we are willing to use my educated guess, 550 to 604, and honestly, that's close enough. Like, to be fair for anyone who wants it, because the points you're going to get out of that stack are going to be very good. The point you're going to get out of that entire side is going to be very good. Like, we've talked about Chris Godwin. Everyone knows how good Tom Brady is. You know how both of us feel about Allen Robinson. Melvin Gordon, I don't think he's going to be on the bench. I think he's going to score points. I think he's going to get 30%-ish of backfield touches, which, if Melvin Gordon is still what he was last year, is probably flex play. And Marcus Mariota hopefully is your QB3. In which case, a 24 second is whatever. So while I get looking at this trade, you have to do a little mental gymnastics to make it work as well as I feel like it does, or just click one extra different button and make it an early 23 first as opposed to a random one. But man, this took a long time to put together, mostly because I was being stupid and fighting over the value of Melvin Gordon and Allen Robinson. And I was just like, this is dumb. Why am I fighting over the back end of the value of this trade? And let's just get it done. So yes, I threw all of that at you, hoping to defend myself in any way, shape, or form. What do you feel about this one?
Yeah, when you initially sent me, it was just like the MFL trade. And so
I was super lazy. I did not type it out. I just highlighted it from the transaction screen.
Yeah. So when I first read it, I was kind of confused. I was like, that seems like a lot for not a lot back, And then you told me that the 23 first, you're hoping and projecting is going to be top 3 based on that other manager having the 101 last year. You said he hasn't done much to really improve his team this year. And that's somebody else's first, not the guy that you just gave Chris Godwin, Tom Brady, Allen Robinson.
Correct. I would not be valuing that as early, having given them half of a starting lineup.
Right. So I did like it a lot more when you told me that, because by this time next year, I think Tom Brady is actually going to retire for good. I think. I don't know.
His value can't go up. Let's put it that way. It will never go up, even if he finishes as a top 2 QB again. Like, it's not going to happen.
Every year that he plays next year is going to be the year he retires, until he actually retires.
I did it for like 6-7 years with both Frank Gore and Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah. I don't think you're getting I don't even know if you're getting half a season of Marcus Mariota this year. I just have no faith in that whatsoever. Sorry. I won't apologize for that one.
You shouldn't have to.
Melvin Gordon, I think kind of similarly, just next year, I don't think there's going to be much for him. You know, there might not even be a lot for him this year. Maybe just enough to make him a semi-confident flex play, but that's kind of it. I like Allen Robinson. The biggest part of the deal is Chris Godwin, obviously. But I would take an early 23 first over Chris Godwin. And I think I also really like David Bell. You got a 24 second, which is going to be nice in a couple years. Alec Pierce is kind of like an upside dart throw on what he could be in the Colts offense as the wide receiver too. So I do like him. Just the overall youth and stability and value that you got on your side, I think lends me more towards understanding why you made this deal. And I would probably end up taking your side on this one at the end of the day.
This is the end of the DLF trade show, and this is all the fun you're going to have today. So, sorry. We wanted to make it longer, but I have to get back to work. I got my boss messaging me. I have a meeting in a half hour. Otherwise, I'd be here like all day for you. I would.
That'd be fun.
But I'm not.
Oh.
Let's keep going. No. Well, thank you, everybody. Russ Fisher, Dynasty Outhouse, Addison Hayes, at AmazeHayes _ DLF Trade Show, DLF YouTube, DynastyLeagueFootball.com, all of these other things that I'm supposed to be talking about. I don't even know anymore. Catch you next time. Finger guns.